Hey Luke,
Hey Hayley, how are ya?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem at all, as usual. Anytime, whenever you need me, I just put the bats in the sky and I'll come help. Whatever.
It's been, just over a week since the finale of Survivor Australia versus the World went to air. Congratulations on making it to the final three.
Yeah, yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. Look, you can't win them all, right? But I look, I'm always happy, I think I'm happy even when on my worst days sometimes. I'm able to turn it around, but I just think, yeah, I got to have a good relationship in the game with Jay and, sit at the end and like a lot of firsts out there as well, I think, got to beat that challenge, that took me down in 2019 when Harry won.
That was such an amazing moment to see you kind of, get
Walk-
to, yeah.
Even just walk out, eh? When I walked out, I was like, oh yeah, rightio. PTSD kicking in right now. Yeah, I think, do you know what's crazy? Is I actually think, um, you know, from the time I failed on that challenge to the challenge that I did, and I beat it this time, I had such a good momentum and timing with the balls from after I realized, it's like something where it beats you like a couple years back, and you're just like, if only I did this and did that. And if you actually, well, I don't know, there on the day. I reckon I could have kept five or whatever it was, four balls continuously going for who knows how long. Where the first time, I don't think I actually had understood the timing of it, if that
Oh,
makes
your
any.
timing was so bad on that. Like, I mean, I was there on that day when you lost that challenge, and I just
Yeah.
remember like seeing you, like Jonathan was counting down from I think like 60
Cut-
seconds, and you
Yeah,
put the ball in
at
straight
60
away,
seconds.
and it was just like,
And,
no.
and on this time, I put it in at like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
It was nice to be that.
Yeah, it was a really nice moment. It was great to see you take on that challenge again and,
Mm.
conquer it. Obviously, we spoke a few months ago and we couldn't talk about the
Yeah.
show and I didn't know the outcome. And I had a feeling you did well, but it was really amazing to see you to make it all the way to finally get to that final three. So you should be really proud of yourself, I think.
Cheers. Yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. I think I've had a good survivor journey all the way up to here. It would have been nice to win, but at the same time, I feel like I've now over the years felt comfort in losing right at the end. There's some sort of comfort knowing you nearly make it. I don't know what it is. Like I don't feel like I won Big Brother, but even when I won it, it felt like a different feeling than like coming so close, if that makes any sense. Like I don't beat myself up over it, if that makes any sense. Like I don't dread the fact that, oh, I nearly could have won or should have won or, didn't win. I always look back and go, was that a good experience? And I was like, yeah, that was pretty mad. Like, I took out that challenge. Like I did the fire. I went to the end with my friend and like there's all these positives that I can take from it. So yeah, that's how I look back on it all.
Yeah, that's such a good way to be. And I mean, you are like the most positive person I think I've ever met. And I feel like I can tell that you're cut about it.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Look, it would have been nice. But in saying that, you know what? I kind of blame myself anyways, because in that, statement, would you say, there's these sliding door moments where you kind of play a little bit more reserved, where, it's like, are you actually going for the win or are you going up against like do you want like a tough final? It's like, do you take the easy route where you could say, well, there's a good chance I could probably take it here if I did X, Y, Z, or for me, I think I said it to my brother the other day. I was like, I always seem to always take the hard road. I don't know, like sliding door moments, Haley, and few little things I could have done differently maybe would have won me the game. But I don't say that I'm like just because I didn't win that like I was already in there with like all the winners and the best of the best. So like, because Dave didn't win, does that make him a shit player because he got voted out first? No. Does just because George got voted out second, is he like the most entertaining and has done some amazing stuff in the game? No. I don't I don't sit there and think it's a detriment to anyone's game, how they came in this season. I think everyone got chosen because they have brought their own style and charisma to the game and made the game, to what it is. Yeah, that's how I look at it, anyways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned sliding doors moments in the game. What do you think you could have done differently? Like, what do you see as your sliding door moment in the game?
I'd say my biggest one would be probably the final five, not putting that big move on the resume to show that I was in control of the game.
What would
Um,
that be? Playing an idol on Shawnee?
Yeah, yeah. Which at the time, that was my decision that was happening as I was walking up to, and I sat down, like I was tapping her on the leg, which actually made me feel probably even more awful afterwards because I was like, it's like she's probably thinking, why is this guy tapping me on the leg? But in my head at the time, I was like, I've got you. I'm playing my idol for you. And then I made a decision not to, like probably like 5 minutes later, or maybe a bit later, like closer towards when we had to go up to vote because I was on the end to vote.
Yeah. And what was behind that change of heart? What made you not play the idol for Shawnee?
Yeah, I think at the time it was like I had this feeling I was like, maybe it was my past seasons when I'd done the crazy moves and then I've been voted out at four. Or the other aspect was I did have a weird feeling that if I did try to save Shawnee, that maybe Janine wouldn't let me go to fire if that was the case. Maybe not. And then the other thing that was playing on my mind was if I go and give Janine my necklace and Shawnee my idol, and then for whatever reason I got voted out, I was like, once again, you've just gone and done it. I'm gonna have to go home, and tell Mary, I'm like, yeah, I got voted out. And they say, well, why was that? It would be like, because I gave two girls my necklaces, all my power in the game. You know what I mean? For a big move. Like,
Yeah.
and I just thought, like, I was like, why am I always like wanting to do the crazy shit? And it used to always be like, it was because like you need that resume when you get to the end at the same time. And like to show that I was in complete control. Because, people on the jury will say, well, who's in control right now?
Mm.
That is, it couldn't be any more of a statement to say, I'm in control. For instance, I did it in that season two in 2019 when I got Abby out, and I did it to do that exact thing to show that I'm in control near the end of this game. Like, I'm in power. And you could call it PTSD, you can call it whatever, but it is the fact is like, do I need that to do I need that move? And obviously I did need that move. And at the time I kind of probably even thought I needed that move, but I decided not to for those reasons. And it's sliding doors moments, like you say you should, could, and you know what? I think it's different with me because I've already proved that I have and can do that. I think that was the mentality behind it.
Yeah.
Is I actually think that I've become like, would you say, maybe more in this season? Probably just directly. I wouldn't say future or anything, but I just say it's this season. I tried to become more smarter,
Yeah. You were playing more
mature.
conservatively.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's because I was playing with Janine as well. Janine's like a really quite logical person, very smart, and I kind of felt like we made a great duo. And I kind of just, I fell into that thing where it was like, that is the smartest move to do if I want to make it to the end. So if I save Shawnee and then say it gets to the end and then Janine's like, no, I'm not giving you fire because you just, you know, blindsided me on that one, even though I didn't take her out the game. Um, yeah, I think it was like me putting everything on Janine. Like, you owe me one, Here's the necklace. Like, like
Mm,
give me that final shot because, and that is, yeah, it's not the big bombastic move or the crazy, like, I've risked it for the biscuit. It's kind of like, yeah, I was playing to get to the end. But again, like, the jury wants to see a bit of risk, right? And that's what it comes down to. And I say balls it up on the fifth vote there. But the rest of the game, I feel like I played pretty good, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean it's that delicate balance because, you know, you have to play a winning game and both times that you've played before, you have played a winning game, but you haven't made it to the end, so you couldn't win. And this
Yeah.
time, like you talk about those sort of sliding doors moments, or that extra move might have like got you the win, but it's one of those things still might not have got to the
Yeah.
end. So it's an impossibly hard game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is, right? Because you got to manage the threat level, and then you got to manage, obviously, um, like the jury. And so it's a very fine balance. I knew I'd have my work cut out for me taking Parv to the end. But in saying that, like, I think I did want a very exciting finale, a final. Like I did want to go down to the end with potentially someone that, would either beat me or I would have a good crack at. Because, for instance, Hayes, like you've seen stuff that, you'd think that the way the game's going to go is one way and then it twists the other way. And in my whole head, I was like, imagine if I did get the jury votes and I did an amazing speech and or I won the final challenge or all this stuff and then took Parv out. Well, then that would be more legendary on top of just winning because I went to the end with people that I thought I could beat, right? And look, you can either say it's a dumb thing or you can say it's a like that's just me. Like I just prefer to like run it up against people that I think I might have a good battle at against, And it hasn't been like that every season, but this season it's the first ever Oz versus World, and I don't know. I think I got caught up in the moment where I was like, imagine if I took it off Parv at the end, like, So, but in saying that, if I had the chance, I would have voted Parv out if I won that last challenge, or as I said, decide to do something crazy on the fifth. I always have this thing where I swing right and swing left, and then swing right and swing left. I'm like, oh, what should I do? And then that night, I just went straight, right? And look, if you were in my head, I think I said my tribal. I was trying to juggle it all, and I was like, it feels like ants are crawling all over my brain because I was like, in every aspect of my body, I want to do something crazy, which would have been just the me just being myself, but it made it harder for me to just play it simple.
Yeah.
It's like when someone says, "Dude, just like when you got that drunk friend or something that you're like, dude, drink some water, just relax, like stay still," and then and then they're like, "Oh, I can't," like I'm like raging with want to dance and want to party or something, It's just I don't know. That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
I mean, and that fire making challenge, I thought you were going to cook that. Like,
Oh my God. Yeah, well, do you know what? That's another one, right? So, like, I do feel like I had to fight my way there. Like, I actually think if I lost an immunity challenge and say Parv won one of those three where I got them in a row, they would have targeted me. Like, it was me, without a doubt, they would have targeted me. I would have played my idol the moment I didn't win one. But at the same point, like, I did have to fight my way back. And you can only do that if you're putting in that social work.
yeah,
So when you sit there and speak to, Pav or Sari, um, like you'll see that like they get along with me. Like there's like good, there's good friendships there. And that's only done by time. Like you don't play these games and click with everyone.
yeah,
But at the same time, it is a thing where the best of the best do like playing with each other.
yeah.
Um, but credit to them because they're hard to read as well, right? You know, I can have a conversation with them and I understand, I feel like what they're going to do or who they're working with, but they still do keep their cards close to their chest, you know, and um, yeah, they're just as good as anyone that I've ever played against. So
Yeah, can you tell me about that relationship? Because both Parvati and Sari had very nice things to say about you. You know, Sari said you really did connect out there. Can you tell me about the relationship? Because I guess we didn't get to see a whole pile of that
yeah,
apart from the fact that you guys were very much
yeah.
working together.
Me and Sari, we kind of like, I think we connect on like a personal level, separate of the game. She's someone that I just like, I don't know, like we just the humor side, like some people either like me or they hate me, you know? And I think with the humor part was just a thing that we clicked on straight away. Like she kept saying, she's like, you like to play too much, Luke. You like to play too much. Like, you know, like you're always like um always looking for some crazy shit to do or something. Like, you know, she's always got that and she's seen that. And then anyways, we had some real good D&Ms out there. And as you can see, like I wrote Sari's name down. Like Sari could have been like, no, no, like screw yous, you know? But she's so open to dialogue and opinions and convos that once we started chatting, it felt like that me and Sari were having like a moment that me and Sarah had in like 2019, where like we'd kind of like half gone at each other and then we made up and then we were laughing. It was
Yeah,
like such a funny chat. It'd be like,
yeah,
yeah, I tried to get you, you know what I mean? You're probably try to get me. But what it does, it bonds you because you realize that it's water under the bridge rather than revenge. And so that's how we kind of clicked off. And as you can see, purely from that convo and the fact that I was with Jay, she kind of wanted to get Shawnee out over me when it was still world strong,
yeah,
you know. And there's a reason why is because I put in that work. But when I say work, I always say as like I'm connecting, you know, and I was the one that was pushing that vote. Like to be fair, like you know, I was the one in the world tribe going, "Let's take Sari." Yeah, we're taking Sari because they wouldn't want to take Sari. Like, but again, and then I used that lie, you know, mixed in with the truth of the fact that Lisa was coming for him. You mixed in a lie with the truth, and it kind of all sounded like truth, you know. So. Yeah, and look with Pav again. I always say a friend of mine is like a friend of Dave's, for instance, is a friend of mine. Like so, if I meet you, Haley, and you introduce me to any one of your friends or family or anyone, you're a friend of mine because I'm a friend of Haley. You know, so that's how I look at it. So that's why when me sending Pav back, I knew that I could kind of swing that around, even if she was upset that I'm sending her home, which was happened. And you know, a lot didn't show, but you know, we ate the cookies down the beach. You know, like she gave me some of those cookies. You know, we also tried to pretend that we were like not on each other's tribe. Um, in saying that, when I was working that side, I would have been happy to work with the internationals. Like
yeah.
if they actually wanted to take us forward, me and Shawnee would have jumped on that, and then I would have just brought Jay in, and I would have taken Sari and Pav. But they, you know, obviously didn't want to go that route.
Yeah. I want to ask, I mean, the start of this season, there was the first tribal council and Dave goes out, the first tribal council for you. And I just remember thinking, oh, classic Luke, because every time there's a first vote for his tribe, he gets on the wrong side of the vote.
Yeah,
It's
it's
happened every
and it's
season.
every season, right? And like,
But
do you know what?
but
Do you know
then
what?
this time, like the thing was that it just kept coming and you
Yeah.
kind of couldn't get your footing. There was a while there where you were just constantly on the back foot. And I want to ask, like, why do you think this season, I guess you struggle so much to find your footing in that early stage of the game?
I actually feel like it was led to me um, trying to play a bit of an under the radar game. So I actually went in there feeling like I'm beside all these crazy players that are all going to want to make the biggest moves and, make their big stamp in the game, that I was like, this is perfect for me. I can just like coast. And because in the end, Sarah, like me and her have, a connection out, then like Kirby, then Dave. I was just like, I'm cool. Like I'm pretty chill. It wasn't until like when Dave went, obviously the George vote. You got to understand, people were like, oh, Luke was outside the numbers. He didn't know what was going on with the George vote. It was everyone on George. Janine whispered in my ear right at the last second because she got worried. She said, change your vote for me and I'll owe you. So in my head, I was like, do you know what the most important thing in this game is? Is like true trust. Like people that will actually owe you and will have your back. That, like, it didn't really matter what happened that event. Like, as long as I had that one thing, it was like where Janine goes, change your vote. And I was like, done. That means I've got legit Janine in my corner potentially for the whole game. Like, she'll want to feel like she has to pay back that debt. I'll say it like a contract. So in my head, I was like, I don't care that I'm like wrong on this one. Like, even if like to the viewer, it's like, oh, Luke didn't know what he was doing, he voted wrong. Like that relationship served me well throughout the whole game. So um, it was a last minute thing. When it came to the Kirby situation, her jumping over, well, yeah, I just felt like good luck. Like after it happened, I was like, you're like effed after she. I thought because in the end, I played a Kirby game. I played that game where you like burn and turn and you do this and you do the crazy one. And as I said, she was like looking at Merge as in like the big player. And I was thought, good, like you don't have no idol, like because I knew I had the idol. I was thinking you don't even have an idol to save your ass right now, after like doing it. So that's why as soon as that vote happened with Sarah, I was just like, one, not only did I feel like congrats, like great move, great blindside, but it's the idea is like, will it get you to the end, but you
Yeah.
know, that's my problem now. The thing is, because I've played now a couple of times, I in my head, I'm like, great move, but you now. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought. And you know what? And because in the end, in my head, I was like, she's gonna rely on me as a number to help her through the next stages of the game. But when I if I give you warning to say, Hayley, don't do this, and then you do that, for instance,
Yeah.
well, I'm like, well, you're on your own now. You're on your own. Like, I love curves, but like after she did that blind side, she came back to camp and then it was the next scramble. She like legit looked at me like it felt like we've kind of like a help me situation. Like we need to keep Australia strong, for instance, right? And I was thinking, the moment I got back to the beach after that last trouble when Sarah got blindsided, I sat there by myself in the sand, figuring out the numbers, going, I'm not playing with Australia anymore. Like Australia's done. Um, so when like it get to the next scramble and it was like, we need to stay Australia strong. I think they're going to stick together and this and that. I was like, oh, you wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. Like I'm already like pushed past that plan. Like me and
Yeah, that
Janine,
ship has sailed.
that ship sailed. Like now it's me and Janine splitting up, trying to separate the world tribe. Like yous are going to be collateral damage, Like those tribe lines are gone. The moment Sarah went, because it was not only did I feel like I lost Kirby, because I felt like Kirby's going to be targeted next. You also took Sarah away from me, which was a very vital part of my game. So you kind of like legit took the legs out from under me after I legit told her you'll go next, and then I had to like scramble from the bottom again, which is why I had to go to Surrey. And that's why I had to go to the World Tribe. And I said, I'm going for a round the world trip. Because it's like, I'm there pitching myself now like a free agent, you know?
Yeah.
Scoop me up. And that's how me and Dave did really well when we were in 2019. We landed when there was 7-on-2. Is you have to do the round the world trip and you have
Yeah.
to find the crack, right? And Janine got in, and that opened it obviously right up. But yeah, I felt like if she didn't do it and brought the information that they were trying to blind Sarah, I really feel like that would have been even a bigger play to say I tricked the Americans that we're going to blindside Kirby to split them up and then go in Aussie strong because that naturally she would have been more. She would have played, probably even made it to the end playing with me than playing with Pav and Saru. If that,
Yeah.
so she kind of like found the crack and then exploited it at the Aussies' expense.
Yeah. How did David going out first kind of impact your game plan?
I think it impacted in a good way, really. Why? Do you know why? It's because at the first challenge, I think John goes, "Oh, Rob, who do you know from the Aussies?" And he goes, "I know Luke and Dave." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." So we're already being like targeted as a couple here.
Yeah.
And when he got out, it was like my threat level just dropped. I felt like a shitload, like to the bottom. So it kind of felt like, well, this is perfect now. I can just, coast and hopefully look for that end of game run and just sit like, sit at the bottom, would you say? But at the same sentence, I feel like I wish I played my idol on Dave because Dave would have been the best ever member for me in the whole game because we have a lot of fun out there. So I know every single day out there would have been probably a peak funness for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And peak being able to just, to chat everything through and like, he's like my boy at the same time. So it's like I always thought, how would I vote him out or what if he blindsided me? Like I think it would probably hurt a bit, So it's
Do you think he would ever do that to you?
I don't think so, but you got to understand the game's the game, Hales, and like, even if you did, I'd still be like, it's all good, But I just, when it does get down to that pointy end, I think you'd have my back as far as it would go. But when you can taste victory, like if he's had to cut me, like because he had potentially two other options on the table that he could beat at all the challenges. Like it makes sense. He'd be like, "Sorry, Luke, I'm taking the world title." Like at the start, no, because it's so far away from the end. But you put the world title of Survivor on the table, and you're in final 4 or 5 or 6, and I'm the biggest threat against this game. Like, who's to say he does or doesn't? I don't know. But all I know is I would have struggled to take him out purely for the fact is like I'd rather sit at the end with my brother and go up against him than take him out. And I'm not going to play every season of reality TV like this, but you got to understand it's like the first world one. I'm playing with like 6 of my best buddies or whatever it is, like 5 of my best buddies, like that I've made outside the game. Like you might as well chuck Jericho in there as well and just be like, yeah, Luke, vote them all out. Like it's like, God, like it's rough, it's rough. And
Yeah, it's amazing that, with all your experience in the game, like still those personal relationships and, voting people out that you actually really like can still
yeah,
affect you.
yeah, it does. It seriously does. And you know what? Like I feel like I've been really nice, for a while now. I'm ready to enter my villain era where it's like all gloves are off, I'm gonna sit there and just be the most worst person where it comes to voting off people, best mates, like the whole lot of the game. Like, because in the end, they actually respect it half the time by the end of the game. They're like, dude, you got me before I could get you. But when you're in the moment, like, yeah, just you kind of like, like I wouldn't do this in real. like I wouldn't do this in real life. So it is still, yeah, it still gets to me, right?
Yeah. And when it comes to this season, given the fact that Parvati is known as one of, the greatest players to ever play the game, does that take the sting out of the loss a little bit?
Parv's amazing because he's like I always say it's like the triple threat where you can have all aspects of the game covered, which is like the social part, the strategic part, and I always even classify the physical, but the physical can also have like a touch of the survival. I actually, because it's games called Survivor, is like the actual survival part. Like I don't know, that's why I've always had this like a little extra tick at the end there. But just like Pav and Suri, like playing against them, I knew it would be an experience, and as expected, they came to play. Pav built up momentum. When you're cutting someone, I still feel like there is a little bit of maybe ring rust where you haven't played for a while and you can go back and, for instance, like me, I probably started getting too emotional in the situation. But if you chuck me in probably like a week or two after me playing that game, I reckon I'll be cutthroat again. I'll be like, no, no, I've already given everyone my niceness now. Now it's time to be a dirty player. So yeah, they're amazing. Like they've done. That's why they are who they are, and they burn it, burn it. So it's like the idea is you find a group, and as soon as it doesn't serve you, you just keep. And that's like what Survivor ultimately is being able to make those decisions um, for your own game. And maybe I put too much emphasis on everyone else's game, um, and trying to get as many Aussies to the end, or I don't know, playing a little bit more cautious. Um, but it was fun. It was fun.
What did you know about these players before you went out there? Obviously, your Spy Shack was inspired by Tony, watching Tony on YouTube back in the day. What else did you know about these players?
Well, with Tony on the first challenge, I had to verse him down a slide, and as we were walking up, I said to him, I said, "Listen, I don't know if you know me, but I've got no problem with playing with big players. So if you make it to merge or whatever, let's link up." So I'd already said that from the get-go. So when he didn't make it to merge, I was dirty. Because I feel like he was the fun I was looking for when Dave went. Like when Dave went, I was like, ugh. So I was like, oh, at least I'll link up with Tony and then, we could do some wild shit. And that's what I was like I needed. I always need like that partner.
Yeah, it did feel like that was missing this season, like because those kind of larrikin personalities went home.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of, I guess, like people to
Yeah,
bounce off in that
yeah,
sense.
that's what I'm saying. So like I could do a speech and whatever, and you go, "Oh, that's pretty shit speech." But then you put me on stage with like someone else, and I'm really good with bouncing. Like that's how I feel like I do well. So when like I had Jay, and Jay, look, Jay's amazing, but I think it's like playing with someone that's like always just a little bit more sensible. So I kind of like felt like when I was playing with Dave or Jericho, we're like always pushing the envelope, if that makes any sense, in every aspect, like and making every single vote out like wanting to do a crazy thing. So I think I actually found it maybe with Shawnee a little bit. She was probably the only one when I finally chatted to her. I was like, let's do this. And she was like, yeah, I'm ready just to do some crazy shit. And now I know why Shawnee's so good at the game because she's very much she swings like she's unpredictable. With the other guys, I didn't know Cass, I didn't know Tommy and Parv and Sari. To be honest, I haven't watched that heroes versus villains when they're so tight and in the past or whatever. I haven't actually watched that.
So you didn't know a lot about the World Tribe.
No, nothing, nothing. I should have done some research. God,
Yeah.
because I knew Parv and them were tight, but I didn't know they were like them two are like probably like Dave and me. Like obviously I got that after a while, I realized that I was like, oh my God, these two are like, yeah, they've got some history.
Yeah. The last time I had you on the podcast, we talked about sort of your different games. And, you obviously had the first time you played, I think you went out in seventh place
Yeah, seventh. Yeah.
and you could cop that on the chin and it was a bit of a laugh. And then when you went out in your second game, when you came fourth, that was kind of this heartbreaking loss.
Yeah, yeah. Heartbreak.
Like, where does this loss land for you?
I think do you know what I look at is it's not my story. We all this universe is, crazy, but it's like this was Parvati's story, if that makes any sense. Like it was something to do with her, the end of her story. So mine maybe hasn't come yet. Like I feel like the seventh was I was excited. I just felt like I was lucky to be a part. Like I got picked and I'm out here and I'm just like, yeah, run amok. And I was young still back then. Maybe I'm maturing. I don't know what it is. But then the second game was that was like, I think when I got eliminated, I was like, why the did I even come out here? Like I've just wasted like, and I don't say waste, but like I was very much in the moment and like I had the home life with, and my daughter wasn't well, and when I'd left, and I just knew that like, yeah, I put everything on the line, and I felt like I was doing good, and I don't know, like that one was like, I felt like if I had a heart attack, I could have had a heart attack that day, you know what I mean? Like, but I think this time I was like, I was happy. Like when I left, I was like, I was. I didn't play a super conniving game. I didn't play the most bombastic game, but a little bit was like a choice, right? It was like a little bit like I kind of decided not to, and just because I wanted to try to see if I could just make it further, and I did. So I was like, and who's to say like I know what the jury's thinking? Maybe I was like, the only thing I probably thought, I was like, oh, I should have said this. That was the only couple of things I was like, well, I should have said this and maybe done this move on final five. But at that time, I didn't even know if I won or lost yet. So it didn't matter. Like, I liked my friendship with Jay in this show. Like, that was one of the most important things that came out of the show. I probably could have just been more screw this. This is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to please the alliance, for instance, or do something. But I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't upset, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Not like the second season. Oh my God. All I know is Endemol would have like a clip of footage of somewhere of me completely having a mental breakdown somewhere in that. Because I was a mess. Like
You
that.
were a mess.
Well, I don't think I've ever been like that in my life. Like that was like a
You
proper.
were a broken man. It was
Yeah,
like, oh, the
yeah,
image is still like burnt into my brain.
yeah.
You
When you
walking
look at
out of
that,
tribal council.
oh, I just remember going like,
I
yeah, it
went
was.
up to you that night. You probably didn't even remember it. Everything's probably a blur. But outside the control room, and you
I
were
don't
just
know. I
like,
just being like, yeah, I've never felt emotion. Well, I have, but you know what I mean. Like I have felt emotion like that, but I've just felt like, yeah, that one hit me. That one hit me because it's like you invest when you invest, so much into.
yeah.
I feel like that was my game to lose. That's how I felt, like.
Yeah, and I mean, this game, it was more of a celebration.
Yeah,
You were out
that's
there for
what I felt
16
like. Yeah,
days, you made it to the end, you got to
exactly.
tick off some things that you haven't done.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't upset. Like, as I said, it's Pav's ending, Pav's story. At the same time, like, I got picked to play in a very small group of Aussies that represent the country. I wanted to stay Australia strong. I won a few immunities. I won the fire. Like, yeah, I didn't get the jury vote at the end, but like, am I going to sit there and be like, beat myself up because, like I lost to, you know, the greatest player? Like, in saying that, I bet you we play again and I could get it over Parvati. Like, just like Sari could get it over me or Dave could get it over me and Parv. Like, yeah, I just think we all have our moments, and that's, I think it was exactly that, a celebration of the fact that Australia's players now get to mix it up with America, and hopefully it means that other future Australian players and South African players and New Zealanders and all that, they get to also play alongside some amazing Americans, and just yeah.
Yeah, I would hope that they like I hope that they do a round two.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah,
has loved it.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's good because they will. Yeah, it's good because it opens up our. It does open up us to, like, really to other audiences, and yeah, I'll be a bit more wilder on the next one. You watch.
So you're not going into survivor retirement.
Uh, do you know what? Like, nah. Why should I? Like, look at me. I'm an absolute. I'm in the prime of my life. I'm like a bull right now. I feel like I've got, like, it'd be a if oh, who's that girl who won it?
Jane Gould.
Yeah, Shane, yeah. Yeah, if Shane can do it at 60, shit, I can play these games until, at least 50.
Let's get to the quickfire questions, Luke. What is a better feeling, winning individual immunity, finding an idol, or pulling off a blindside?
Oh, and individual immunity is pretty nice.
Who was the player with the most annoying habit in camp, and what was it?
Oof. Most annoying habit. Oh, I'm bad with that because I'm always like, I never pick up habits. I swear someone was farting heaps at night time. I don't know. I can't think right now.
Pretty much everyone's answered Tommy.
Oh, really? Wow, what did Tommy do?
He talked a
Oh,
lot.
really? I like Tommy. Oh, I talk a lot, Yeah, see, Tommy was great. I just wish he talked more game with me.
Would you rather win a reward and lose your dignity, or lose reward and look good doing it?
Oh, look good doing it. Yeah, look good doing it. Yeah.
Which world player were you most excited to see?
Tony. But you know what? Like, I also, like, post-show and everything, I like Tommy. Like Tommy's like come into my life through Survivor, but I like watch all his stuff and I think, yeah, he's a cool cat,
He's funny. I enjoyed chatting to Tommy.
Yeah, he is good.
What was your favorite moment of the season?
My favorite moment of the season was probably just when Jay let me go to fire.
Yeah.
Because it was like all this investment into that. Not investment, but it's like, she didn't have to. She could have just went through, and I would have voted for her at the end. Yeah, when the moment happened and it finally came to it, she just said yeah and gave me that fire, and because I was looking for it like this, looking for that name, when you're looking for that name. And you're like, oh, is it gonna be?
It was an amazing moment, and I said to Janine when I had our chat, I was like, this is the second time you've saved Luke like this, because that season that you guys played together when there was that night tribal council after the
fire?
Yeah, by the fire.
Yeah.
You were gone, and Janine saved you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she made a right decision there, as well. So, and you know what's funny is, like, on our first season, me and Janine were the only ones who voted wrong.
Yeah.
First vote, and
you voted for Pia.
We're both voted for that. We both voted for Pia, and then now, like, this time later, it's just like, I don't know, we've got this weird way of, I feel like we're like the same person, but like she's just got more money than me. Nah, but like she's the same person as in, like, I don't know, like we just seem to have, she's like a responsible version of me.
Yeah. I've cut this scene before, Luke. Your positive batteries.
Yeah.
That was my episode.
Yeah.
If you could be on any reality show, what would you be on? Now, these are Channel 10 options, but you've done half of them. So you've won Big Brother. You've been on The Traitors. So you've got MasterChef, The Amazing Race, or I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Maybe the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here with Mary, so then she has to eat all the bugs.
Oh, gross. Why wouldn't you eat them?
Or well, because yeah, well, I don't know.
Why would Mary be there?
No,
It's
because
not a
or no,
team.
the Amazing Race would be pretty good with us too. You know, would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I reckon she would yeah, I reckon we'd make good pair on there.
Yeah, I love that. Finally, if someone were to write a history book on Survivor in 100 years' time, what would the headline be to the Luke chapter?
A headline would be, oh, far out. Something to do with resilience, I feel like. Yeah, something about like, not traveling the easy road, you know. But even when it's presented to you, you know. Far out. You got me with
That's
these. I don't know. I think there's someone out there that probably could tell me what it would be, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah. That's all right.
Try,
You don't need to have
try
an
my
answer.
hardest. Trying his hardest.
Luke, thank you so much for your time. I mean, look, I think you were so much fun to watch again. It's so heartbreaking to see you lose in this way. But like I said, I think if you're going to lose to someone,
Yeah.
losing to someone who's known as one of the best players in the world to ever play the game, I don't think that's a bad effort. And I mean, technically, you're, I mean, if she's the world champion, you're the world runner-up,
Well, I'd look at it as in as if she was the queen, I'm the king, right?
something like that.
Well, if I'm
You
the
gotta
last
claim it.
Well, if I'm the last man standing, and then there's the last woman standing, and then and then I'd say, what would Jay be? Jay would be my advisor.
You might need to be the prince. You might need to be like a step down from the queen.
Oh, are you kidding me, Prince? They're all the same, right? We're in the royal family. I'll take it. Do you know what? I feel like I'm young enough to be a prince, so let's call it Prince.
Thank you so much. Obviously, I've known that over the last year you've had your daughter in hospital and you sort of had been spending so much time there. And I hope that it's given, your whole family a lot of joy being able to watch you again because
Yeah.
we've loved watching you.
Thanks, Hayley. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I just feel like it's always when you do these things, it's like the pleasure get to watch it back, And I know that like the messages and stuff I've even got from everyone, yeah, there's a lot of love out there, and I think they didn't mind the old immunity challenges and the fire that said there's and all that stuff, and the fans watching it, and yeah, lots of good, it's all been good. No negatives, take no negatives and all positives. So
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you, if not on the Survivor, then on the
something.
Amazing Race with your wife Mary.
Ooh, imagine that. That. All right. But yeah, no, cheers, Haley.
Thank you so much, Luke. Have a good night.